We'll just, you know, willingly take 5 damage from a Roiling Vortex. You love to see it. I would like 1 Primeval Titan, please. So I guess we bog them first to play around Unholy Heat, and then we pack for Titan and play it. What are they doing here in response? Oh, they do have the heat. We played around it too! I finally made a good play, guys. I finally made an actually good play. I don't think just playing 1 Generous Ent or making a token and doing nothing else is going to be good enough. I think we need a 1 ring here anyways. So let's go for this immediately. Now it is very clear what we do. We are going to put some Primeval Titans into play. And attack with them. Hello and welcome everybody. Today we are playing a continuation of the Generous Ent list that I played last on the channel. As of the time that I'm streaming this at the moment, that video is not yet live, but hopefully you've seen it if you're watching this on the channel. And like I said, we're just doing a few things that I think maybe improve, at least in my opinion, improve upon the previous list. We're shoving one of these Ents to the sideboard to bring the 4th 1 ring back in the main, just because I think that you pretty much just always want all 4 of these in the main, and you just side it out in matchups where it's not particularly good, like Living End particularly. I also wanted an extra Endurance to cast at instant speed against the control decks. It is true that, like, against the control decks and, like, Murktide, we have Generous Ent as additional threats, but one thing that can happen is you get stuck with nothing to do until turn 6, because you have, like, just Titans and Ents and Summoners packs, and you either have to, like, pack and get a Dryad into play, or just play nothing. And so having things like the 1 ring and Endurance to fill the earlier turns and still have something relevant to do, I like having access to a 3rd Endurance for that, but also just because it's good against our bad matchups. In particular, it's good against Living End, which I think we're otherwise a little soft to, so we are doing that. And then everything else is basically the same. We got the 1 O-Stone for the 4-color matchup. And we are still testing the Mycosynth Gardens in the sideboard as opposed to having them in the main board, just so that when we side out sagas, we can bring in Mycosynth and still have, you know, a pretty high density of double amulet draws, just as a nice land that can replace our saga, and also happens to filter for blue. So in a lot of those matchups, we're also anticipating bringing in Spell Pierce, things like Rhinos or Living End. Again, I'm doing a lot of tuning for Living End because I think that Living End is currently our hardest matchup. Maybe that's just me. That and 4-color, but also I kind of just hate having to tune for 4-color, so like, we basically just lose to Elesh Norn, and that's why I'm playing 1 O-Stone, is to have N out there, but honestly, I'm not even sure that this really helps, so we'll see how that goes. Otherwise, I think that the list is pretty much what you would expect, the standard, I suppose you could say, and yeah, so this is what we're going to be running with today, and I guess without further ado, I'll jump into match 1. We are in here for match 1 on the draw, against NJSO 18. Maybe I should start just, like, taking the keyboard and just, like, holding it in my lap. I guess I could do that. It's not something I've ever done, but it's not something I've ever really thought of, so it's a little better that way. We have the Ent in hand. We get to play a Dryad on turn 2. It's an interesting situation. Ent gives us an untapped source, so we can go land, Titan if we draw it. Like, we go Grazer in, Growth Chamber, play this, play Dryad, play Simic. I guess we don't have the time to actually land cycle this for an untapped source, but this also gives us a potential payoff, so I guess we're keeping this. And obviously if we draw a Titan, then we're in pretty good shape, so definitely not one of the explosive hands that Amulet is known for. And maybe on the draw that'll bite us a little bit, but Grazer into Dryad to just put some creatures into play, gum up the field a bit with something to play on turn. Ooh, Goblin Guide. On turn, I guess this would be 4, depending on what we draw or don't draw off Goblin Guide. Ooh, the 1 ring. That's a nice one to bridge the gap as well. So let's go ahead and get this Grazer into play. Very happy to have turn 1 Grazer against the Goblin Guide deck. Ah, yes, classic burn. These days, they don't tend to play Eidolon either. Eidolon was always somewhat tricky. I mean, usually you'd just be casting a bunch of spells into Eidolon because you're probably going to win with the cards that you're playing anyways, but now it's like, we don't have to make a huge choice about it, so. And here we're going to block the guide for sure. We might be priced into blocking with Dryad here, depending on our draws. Since we're probably just playing 1 ring this upcoming turn anyways, probably makes sense to block with Dryad. I don't think that we need them not to bolt it to stay in this game, but that could be wrong. We'll see what they do. 1 ring is going to be gaining us at least 4 life here, or something like that. We do have blockers, of course, but see if they have the Searing Blaze. It's the only thing I can think that they would just, like, tap 2 mana main phase for here. I guess they're blazing the Grazer? Roiling Vortex. Okay, well, that doesn't really affect us at all, so that's fine, I guess. Also, this Generous Ent just making a food token is actually actively good against them. I only just realized that, but that's kind of hilarious. We're obviously blocking. Are we blocking with the Dryad? I think we do. Call the bluff. I guess they didn't expect us to block there, huh? Well, we can yield to this one. And I think we are just playing the ring here as opposed to anything else. Could transmute Telaria West, I suppose. We have 4 or 5. We could play second Dryad, leave 1 floating, play Boseiju, bounce Boseiju, and have 2 to transmute, and exactly 3 blockers. I think that math works out. Leave 1 floating, play Boseiju, float up to 2, play bounce and pick it up, play Boseiju again with a 3rd land drop from the second Dryad, and that way we can still transmute T-West. I think that's going to be the play. Probably should have played the Sanctuary here, but it's kind of neglected. Doesn't really matter. This lets us get our Summoner's Pact, I suppose. Not super worried about dying from 15, although I guess if we cast this into the Vortex and take 5, then that's a little more likely, but not attacking for sure. Kind of surprised they didn't have the 1-mana spell to punish our Dryad block last turn, but that's definitely what's giving me the freedom to cast second Dryad here. My opponent goes no attacks, huh? Land, no attacks, go. Fascinating. I think that Roiling Vortex gets around the One Ring protection. I'm not 100% sure. We can just go Amulet, pack for Titan, play Titan, get Valakut, Slayers, and Selesnya, and just kill them. I don't think they can have any 2 cards that'll deal us 9 damage. Even double Boros Charm does not do it, so I think we're just good here. Let's play the Amulet first, though, I suppose. And I guess to I don't know, there's nothing really to play around here. I'm just gonna pack and kill them. I was gonna say to play around them removing both of our Dryads or something, we could like play Sanctuary first to make sure we have the white mana up, but that doesn't really make any sense, so we'll just, willingly take 5 damage from a Roiling Vortex. You love to see it. I would like 1 Primeval Titan, please. One Ring, who needs it? We definitely didn't need it. We'll get our Slayers and Valakut here, and I think that's basically just game. And at this point, I might as well send some triggers at their creatures just to guarantee that our Titan can't get blocked and killed. I think we're going to have plenty of damage this turn from Valakut, so considering if we attack, we're getting 2 more Valakuts in the form of 1 Vesuva and 1 Valakut, so not super worried about it, if I'm being completely honest. This one's going to face, though, for sure, and we'll just save targets upstairs at this point. Opponent, have you seen enough yet? Is this suitable enough? We'll just float just a normal white here, since we're not using the mana otherwise. I guess we could pick up Sanctuary and attack and get, like, Sunhome and Bounce Land or something, but there's really no point in that, so we'll just go to combat. Swing with this 8 damage boy, get a couple Valakuts, and our opponent will be no longer playing this game. Especially with double Dryad here, I don't think there's, like, anything they can do, so, yeah. Not too bad, not too bad. Alright, the burn matchup. Honestly, I guess we want to trade Generous Ent for Mycosynths and, like, maybe Boseiju, just because Ent doesn't really do much here. It does give us an untapped land, I guess, but, I mean, all of these cards are good. Even the One Ring, which can be awkward against burn, because they have instant speed burn spells, obviously, it still buys us time against creature draws and makes them have to cast during our turn, and it can be really bad for them if they just have a bunch of sorcery speed burn spells like Rift Bolts and Skewer the Critics and that sort of thing, Lava Spikes. Those are all sorcery speed, and the One Ring stops them from being able to cast them during their turn, which effectively time walks them, so I actually don't mind it here. I mean, that's pretty clean, to be honest. Are there any other changes we really want to consider making? I don't think that Spell Pierce is awful. I guess we don't really necessarily need Breeding Pool. I mean, we have a lot of lands. I think I'm just going to run it this way, though. Don't want to overthink the burn matchup too much. We could bring in Spell Pierce, and I don't think it would be the worst, but it wouldn't be great either, especially if we're cutting Generous Ents. Plus, we'd have to shock our Breeding Pool in to have it up if we don't just have a Dryad in play. Double Amulet draw. Missing only a bounce land. The funny thing is, I usually mulligan these hands because drawing a bounce land is pretty unlikely. I guess we're on the draw here, so we get 1 additional potential draw, but we'll go ahead and go through this just for demonstration purposes. We can calculate the exact chances that we draw a bounce land here by using a hypergeometric calculator. So we have population size would be our deck size, which is 53 cards. The number of successes we have is... We're looking for a green bounce land in particular, so it would be one of these 9. So there are 9 possible draws that we want here. Let's say that we're going to draw, we get 1 for turn, and then another next turn if we miss. I guess maybe we even have 3 turns to find this bounce land in particular, and we need just to see one of them. The chance of that happening is just under 50%, so it's not particularly great odds. More often than not, we don't draw the bounce land that we're looking for. That said, if we don't draw the bounce land, how bad is it? Because if we're drawing 3 cards that aren't bounce lands, even just 3 lands with double Amulet, one of them entering tapped, especially since we have an ETB tap land already with Valakut, might actually just represent enough mana. I feel like I'm going to keep this, but this might be demonstrating why you usually shouldn't keep hands like this. We'll find out. We'll find out. If we do find that bounce in, we'll be in great shape. I guess if our opponent has an answer for our amulet, then it's not great. They also could play a Goblin Guide here, not just a Lava Spike. Ugh, no Goblin Guide. Sucks. Hey, there's the bounce land. So I guess this is the lucky universe. Well, in that case, we want to play Amulet on 1 so that next turn we can just kill them if they don't have any interaction whatsoever. If they just pass with 2 mana up, we want to be cognizant of the card Deflecting Palm. There's always a possibility. Yep, and they are holding up Palm. Let's see, we have Dryad. Does that mean that we can actually kill them, though? So we play, like, through Deflecting Palm, that is. We play Amulet, play Bounce Land up to 4, Grazer down to 3, up to 7, Grazer down to 6, up to 10, Dryad down to 7, up to 11, Titan down to 5. We could get double Titan into play. Let's see, we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lands in play with a Titan, and we can attack with both. I think because we drew Dryad, we can actually... Oh, but we have Valcut in hand. It's kind of awkward. We might be able to kill them... We might be able to kill them this turn without playing into Deflecting Palm. We'll have to find out. So we go 4 plus 3 is 7, plus 3 is 10, down to 7 up to 11, minus the 6 for Titan is down to 5. We get Telaria West, Simic. We leave 2 lands in play, cast another Titan, leave... We haste both, leave 3 lands in play, attack with both, go up to 5, up to 7, but we have the Valcut in hand, so I don't really know that we can really do it. I guess we don't necessarily need to play Growth Chamber after Dryad, so we go 4, up to 7, up to 10, play Dryad, down to 7, play Valcut, up to 9, and that still lets us do it. Yeah, I think we can probably kill them here. I think we have lethal, if I am not miscalculating, even with playing the Valcut. And I guess in the worst case scenario, as long as the last thing we do is cast Summoner's Pact, then we don't need to worry too much about anything here, because we can always just pass if there's not enough mana. But I'm pretty sure I calculated this right. We're doing all of this calculation just to see if we can play around Deflecting Palm here, because that's the only thing that really kills us. I guess they could have Path, but no, even Path doesn't work against double Titan, so I think we're just going to be golden here. What if we just play Dryad now and keep a Grazer in hand? We have 7 down to 4, up to 8. That doesn't quite do it. No, I'm just going to go all in. Plus, we're planning to play Valcut as our last land, so if we somehow can't do anything, we'll still have 6 mana this upcoming turn. So, put this in, play Dryad, play Valcut, floats with the Valcut. Definitely keeping Bounce Land in hand here. So we have 7, 8, 9. This is exactly enough to double Titan, so they are just dead. Even if they have the best card they could possibly have had in this situation, even if they have Deflecting Palm, they're still just dead. So, that's cool, I guess. Nice burn deck. How about just doing, 32 damage in one turn? Seems pretty decent. They don't even want to show us, huh? Cool. Well, I guess that makes us a pretty easy... Oh, not 0-1-0. There we go. That's what we're looking for. And we'll just jump straight back in for the next one, I guess. Always nice to start off with a calm and collected race to the finish against Burn. By the way, if we couldn't play around Deflecting Palm there, I probably was not just going for it, just trying to find a better spot, or trying to set us up to be able to beat Deflecting Palm the turn after. Maybe not even attacking with a Titan there. Just playing all stuff into a Titan, setting up Telaria West and transmuting it so that we can do something next turn to make sure we don't lose to Deflecting Palm. There's basically no way we lose that game, even if we couldn't play around Deflecting Palm there, so it do be like that. Playing against Greekachu. Interesting name, if I do say so myself. We have Amulet, Double Titan, no Bounce Land, Slayers in hand. This isn't objectively the worst hand, but I just think that we can do better, to be honest. Our opponent kept their 7. I feel like this is a pretty easy mulligan, to be honest. Yep, this hand's way better, so we'll keep this one. And are we bottoming the Slayers? Slayers is our turn 2 land drop here. Dude, why does it keep dragging the wrong cards? That's so annoying. Usually you'd want to put Slayers back in deck, but Slayers could be important here. Going turn 1 Saga, turn 2 Slayers, turn 3, get second Amulet, and just Vesuva Slayers. I guess it really depends, though, because if we bottom a Titan and we're bad against, a discard spell, we're more likely to top deck lands as well, I think. So I'm just going to bottom the Slayers and hope that we'll top deck any land that we want to play. And even if not, we'll potentially just be able to deal with it. Red into Ragavan. All right. Summoner's Pact. Well, I guess we didn't need the second Titan then. That said, Summoner's Pact also gets us a Grazer to get out of the situation of us not playing a land this upcoming turn, so not that super worried about it. See if we just get Ragavan out of the game. Turn 2 Blood Moon. Not that that's something that I'm looking forward to, but obviously. Swamp. Basic Swamp. Goyf. Yes, the classic Tarmogoyf against Amulet, huh? We found Bounce Land. It's not exactly a land that we can play. Do we want to throw the Dryad into play now? We just let it get Fatal Pushed. Whereas next turn, if we hold the Dryad, we get float, get second Amulet, play Bounce Land up to 5, Dryad down to 2, Bounce Land up to 6, lets us get to Titan. And even if they discard the Dryad or one of our Titans, we still have a redundant piece thanks to the Summoner's Pact. I guess we could just make a Saga Construct here and pass. I think that's what I like. I'm just going to make a Saga Construct and pass. Not expose our Dryad to removal for literally no reason. I guess this makes us worse if our Amulet dies somehow, like Abrupt Decay or something like that. Kolaghan's Command as well, the Unholy Heat. That's fine as long as they don't follow it up with a Blood Moon. They're just holding up Terminate here. They will be sorely mistaken. Pyrite Spellbomb. That's not killing anything. And the One Ring just gives us extra insurance. Let's get our Amulet, hit 5 to make sure there's no yields, and play Sanctuary. And we just killed him here, so sounds pretty decent. We could play Triple Titan and then attack with 2 of them if we really wanted to. Play this one. It probably is worth it to pack for a 3rd Titan and play it before attacking with the 2. I guess we'll have to find out. I wonder what our opponent is pausing here for. Debating on whether or not there's any point in killing the Dryad, I guess. We could get Sanctuary, Bounce Land here just to ensure that we have double white floating so we can haste off of Valakut, but I don't know if that really matters. I'm just going to go with T-West Simic, I think. Just make our 6, cast another Titan, and go from there. Well, this hand shaped up pretty well. At this point, my only concern is leaving lands in play in case something were to go horribly awry. I doubt that that is even possible at this point, and our opponent scoops it up. Okay. So Jun's Saga, since they showed us the Pyrite Spellbomb. How do we feel about Jun Saga? Well, we definitely want Dismembers for their Ragavans and potential Dalthies, but probably just for Ragavan specifically. Endurance is interesting. It's not the worst, but I don't love it. Generous Ent is pretty decent. Maybe it's not good enough to want to all 4, though. Mycosynth is nice. We can trim 1 Saga to play around Alpine Moon on Urza Saga, which I think is prudent. We can trim these Caverns as well, just upgrade them into better lands. I have seen some Jun Saga lists playing Chalice of the Void from the sideboard, so I'm kind of curious about bringing in Boseiju, but maybe not. Oh, Bojuka Bog we obviously want. That one should be pretty obvious. Could trim Map, but I don't really see the point in doing that. I guess Azus is not great against removal, but it is good even if we don't have Amulet, because it can ramp us up to 6 pretty fast, so it's not, like, the worst. And it does trade with Ragavan, so maybe we could trim 1 Pact so we don't get got by Magus. Also, Dismember is another reason to be bringing in... I guess because of the possibility of Magus, we should be playing all 4 Generous Ents as well. Actually, and I think we could board down on Saga even more, cut Saga Map and call it a day. I'm pretty okay with that. We have a Mycosynth Amulet hand. I mean, obviously we're keeping this. If they Thought Seize us and take Amulet, then we still get to Grazer to, you know, block down Ragavan. If they lead on turn 1 Ragavan, then we'll just go turn 1 Grazer. They do have the Thought Seize. A very cool Thought Seize, might I add. Take the Titan. That makes sense. Luckily, we have Generous Ents if we don't draw another Titan. I guess we'd rather play around Ragavan here if they have Dash Ragavan. So we'll just hold the Amulet. It's not really super important to our game plan at the moment. Play tap Breeding Pool and pass it back. If they had Discard Spell, like if we just played Amulet and passed and they had Discard Spell to take our Grazer and then just had like a bunch of things that we can't block because we have no creatures in play, I feel like that's a more problematic situation than us getting our Amulet discarded here, because we're just going to make up to 6 mana naturally, so we have a bunch of live top decks too. In just 2 turns we could cast a One Ring. Next turn we could cast any of our 3 drops. If I were to draw a Summoner's Pact, I would probably pact for a Dryad or a Zusa just to get our land drops into play. So like we have a lot of good top decks even if we don't have Amulet here, but obviously Amulet makes all of our top decks significantly better. So and next turn we can play Amulet and Mycosynth and hold up Mycosynth to copy Amulet if they try to kill it. Otherwise probably just wanting the land instead, since Amulets are weak to removal and lands are less so. And having land in play is better against a potential Magus. So they have Alpine Moon. I don't know what they name with Alpine Moon here. Maybe Mycosynth? Okay, they named Mycosynth Gardens. Now we just have a rainbow land. So, I mean, I'm pretty happy with that. Just being honest. And they do have the Ragavan, as predicted, so we played around this, actually. Boseiju. Not doing a whole lot here. I guess there's no reason not to play the Amulet, just because I don't want to live in fear of discard spell, and then we'll do this in path. Right, now we need to top deck some business, instead of more lands. I'll just go to Instep, I guess. We will block this so they can Pyrite Spellbomb our Arboreal Grazer away. They are on Saga, as predicted. Run in 6. Ping the Grazer, that's fine. Alright, One Ring off the top. It would be our best top deck, I think. Dismember. I'll take that one, actually, to be honest. We do have 1 Black Source here as well. I mean, I doubt they're playing Blood Moon, especially since they already have an Alpine Moon in play. Do I care to Boseiju this Alpine Moon? I don't know. I think we're playing the Sanctuary and picking up Breeding Pool here. And then we might end of turn Boseiju the Alpine Moon and copy our amulet, depending. Because this lets us, well, we will probably Boseiju and Dismember the Ragavan, then untap, copy amulet, play bounce land up to 6 if we were to top deck a threat. Definitely want to Dismember this guy. Wait until attack phase. Dude, I was scrambling to hit the mute button before I sneezed, and I was like literally just about to sneeze, and I clicked the mute button, and I was like, yes, I got to the mute button, and then I just didn't sneeze. Oops. Boseiju Amulet. You got it. I guess we're not Boseijuing their Alpine Moon then. Oh, we could Boseiju their Saga. I really don't hate that. I think we're probably supposed to do that. Although they can just get it back with Ren, I guess. Get back Boseiju, sure. This Ren is kind of annoying. I guess knowing that they have the potential Ren lock in mind, we could be bringing in Endurances. They also had Goyf, so probably bringing in Endurance would be good here. Are we Boseijuing the Saga? I guess so. Alright, what do we want to draw here? The One Ring, I suppose? I mean, that doesn't stop them from repeat Boseijuing us. Valakut is definitely not whatever it is that we wanted. If we play this, they're just going to Boseiju it, but, I mean, do we care about that? I guess we care a little bit. Oh, no, this was bad, because if they Boseiju this, we get a forest. I should have played the Valakut and left an untapped source in hand so we could cast a 6-drop this upcoming turn. Oh well. I should have thought a little longer about that, but, you know, it happens. They picked up Boseiju. They're not even dashing Ragavan here either. Weird. Something castable. Dryad. Dryad is what we want. One Dryad of the Lysian Grove. Let's just let this go. Say yes. Alright, this is the turn to draw a Dryad right now. Dryad. Oh, goodness. Well, play this, pick up a land, then we're just getting Boseiju back down to 5. Guess we play Valakut here. I don't love it. Maybe playing bounce land and accepting going down to 4 lands so we can play land into bounce land if we were to draw a Dryad is better, but honestly, we're probably just locked here. I don't even think the One Ring would get us out of this just because Red and 6 is too good. Also, they have Gigantha. I never noticed that. Let's just not search. We did draw the ring, which is a good one. Oh wait, we have 5 here. Guess we're playing the ring. And I guess we're supposed to draw here in case we find Grazer to block the rag. Just like that. Yep, that's the one. Put in this. Pick up forest, play forest. This, we have 1, 4, 5. And I'm just playing the worst end of the stupid Boseiju, because putting the Boros Garrison would have meant that we have Titan mana this upcoming turn. I'm just playing really poorly this game for literally no reason. I'm glad to see them terminating our Boreal Grazer, though. We drew the card that is most likely to get us out of this, and I still am punting away every opportunity. Ugh. We still have 6, though, so we can cast a Titan if we draw it. Let's let this go. Also, weird that they terminated Grazer that turn. Still no business. Interesting. So I guess we're doing this. Keep our bounce lands in play. Try to keep our mana count as high as possible. Make sure that we have untapped sources to play, just to cast our big stuff. At least One Ring is making sure that we're not missing any land drops. The stupid Red and 6, though. At least they can't Boseiju our ring, huh? I didn't even see what they killed there. Simic? That's fine. Alright, 1 Primeval Titan or any threat, please. Bojuka Bog. That stops the Boseiju lock, I guess. Let's draw. And there's a Pact. So I guess we bog them first to play around Unholy Heat, and then we pack for Titan and play it. And also to cut off the Boseiju loop here and make their Rin way worse. No terminates for you, opponent. No Rin looping terminates and Boseijus and everything. What are they doing here in response? Oh, they do have the heat. We played around it too! I finally made a good play, guys. I finally made an actually good play. Alright, we'll get our Titan here for sure. Is it in time, though? That is the question. Let's get T-West and Blue Bounce Land, since we do still have those. And pick up the Bog here, I guess. And pass it back to them. We have 1 Valakut still in deck, if I'm not mistaken. See what our opponent's 2 cards plus Rin can do to us. I suppose it would have been possible to go for like double Saga, but that would be bad against a second Alpine Moon. So, but keeping in mind that Primeval Titan can at any point in time search double Saga is always a good thing to try to keep. Like I said, keep in mind. It's just that a lot of times getting double Saga gets blown out, so it's not always the best choice. There was a point in time where getting double Saga against control decks would just open you up to March of Otherworldly Light, but they don't really play that card as much, but there's always possibilities of cards like Force of Vigor. Are we blocking this? I feel like we're blocking this. to be honest. I can't think of... I guess they could minus Ren and bolt our Titan. Even then, we're, like, fine. We have 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so we can even still just transmute and cast another Titan immediately. They ult Ren, play another Ren, plus to get back Foothills. Oh, they have double heat. Okay. No, yeah, they have double heat. That's fine. Now we get to Bojuka Bog their last remaining fetch land and all of their castables, and still get Titan, potentially. Oh, that's right, we have to pay for pact. So I guess we're not doing all of that. Let's lose our life here and draw with the ring just to see how we want to pay. Okay. I guess with Dryad coming down, we don't need to worry as much about mana colors. So we'll pay like this. Yes. Interesting. So we definitely want to bog them. So we can bog, play Dryad, play land, haste Dryad, kill Rin. And I just don't think that we can realistically lose. We can lose to our ring. That is something definitely to keep in mind. So maybe we're supposed to ignore the Rin, attack them for 4, and the next one we can play Ent and haste it. And if that's the case, we're playing Sunhome here. I think that's a little better than killing Rin. Although I guess this opens us up to, like Rin ping plus lightning bolt or something, but I think I'm okay with it. I'm just going to attack them. We need to clock them before we get clocked by our own ring. Although these Ents do gain us 2 life each, so maybe it's fine. Have not quite enough to get to their companion there, but we do win, so that makes us 2-0, and we'll just jump in here for a match 3. Just over here quietly, just, you know, winning every single game. On the draw, doesn't matter. I shouldn't be bragging, because now I'm going to get paired against Mill or something and immediately lose both games. Hey, but at least if we do get paired against Mill, I have 3 endurances instead of 2 in the sideboard. So, finally on the play. With a not-so-great hand, unfortunately. And Legendary Besieger's just chilling. This is an easy mulligan, I think. This hand's not that great either. It does have 1 ring. Get a turn 1 map, I guess. I don't know. Our opponent also mulligan to 6. I'm gonna go to 5, to be honest. Hey, now this is a hand. Definitely keep this one. Put these Valcuts, I guess, away. Rather have those in deck, I think. We can lead on turn 1 Mycosynth so that we can start doing Saga things if we don't top deck an actual threat. So we'll go Mycosynth Ent Amulet pass, and go from here. Our opponent mulligan to 5. Could be Tron without a companion reveal. Would be interesting. Swamp pass. That's interesting. Well, I mean, now we're definitely playing Saga. And I guess we just prioritize getting second Amulet into play from hand as opposed to copying, just because they could Thoughtseize our Amulet away depending on their top decks. So Demolition Field. Okay, I'll turn late on this, because we'll be getting Saga value no matter what. And I guess we just play second Saga here in case they do go for the field on the first one. So probably playing against either Coffers or the new Spike Mono Black deck. A second field effect. It's interesting. So let's just go ahead and get our token value out of this. We can still just cast a Titan if we draw it, too. We'll go ahead and say yes to this one. A 3/3 construct. Sounds good. Excuse me. And there's a Titan. Cool. I guess we can go for triple Titan here, huh? As long as there's no yields set here. We'll grab our Titan here, play Bounce Land, and our opponent should probably be scooping it up at this point. We'll just pick up our Saga here, because I don't anticipate anything going south. Our opponent scoops it up. Alright. Well, we don't know if they're playing Coffers or not. All we saw are a bunch of fields and black sources. Generous Ent seems... I don't know, maybe it's not the best. Endurance as additional threats, it seems good. Don't know how good O-Stone will be. Boseiju is good if they're on Coffers, so I'll bring that into hedge. Mycosynth maybe helps play around fields a bit. I mean, not particularly, though, because they can always field our Bounce Land with a bunch of Amulet triggers on the stack, so maybe Mycosynth isn't really worth it. Spell Pierce is kind of interesting. They could be on the Scam Grief package, but we don't know for sure. They probably have Shieldred either way, though, so bring in Dismember is probably safe enough. O-Stone probably doesn't matter. Spell Pierce, if they have Planeswalkers or, you know, removal spells or something, I feel like there's a lot of stuff we could hit with Spell Pierce, although it isn't great against Thoughtseize, so probably not bringing in all 4. This does not feel like a Grazer matchup to me. Summoner's Pact is probably pretty good. Don't want these Caverns for sure. I feel like Generous Ent is probably pretty good. I think I even maybe want the 4th one just so we can have the maximum threat density. Zeus is good here. Maybe we just bring in 2 Endurances. I don't hate that. They do have Invoke Despair, potentially, if they're on the Coffers build, but I'm not super worried about it. Maybe we just bring in 2 Pierces and just no Endurances. I feel like having early plays is kind of important, though. Endurance is good against Bowmasters as well. Maybe we trim 1 ring to hedge against Bowmasters and Karn. I mean, ring's really good, though. I guess we just only bring in... We don't bring in the Generous Ent either, call it this way. Because Generous Ent's not winning against them having Shieldred plus ring anyways, which is probably the late game that they're looking for in this type of matchup, so... This hand doesn't really have anything going for it, to be honest. I think We can mulligan once, just to see if we can find something better. This hand is a little better. At least we have an earlier threat to play. We're going to bottom Summoner's Pact in the hopes that we'll be able to activate the Spell Pierce here. It'll eventually give our opponent a headache. See if they just take Endurance here. It's kind of what I'm expecting. Alright, so they take our Endurance and we draw Azusa, which is pretty much exactly what I was hoping for, is to draw another relevant 3-drop. Not currently able to do Spell Pierce things yet, but that's alright. They do have Bowmasters. Just main phase of Bowmasters is kind of weird to me. I don't know why you wouldn't just hold it up, but, you know. I guess we're playing Sanctuary here. That'll be really bad if they just have turn 3 field, though, so maybe not. We'll just do this and pass. Castle Lochthwain means it's the Spike black deck that's... Well, I mean, technically, Spike made coffers as well, but recently he's been working on a mono-black list that I think is pretty promising. Are we supposed to Boseiju Demolition Field? I don't really think I'm feeling that. I don't think I'm feeling that. Hey, the One Ring. That's pretty good. Alright, so we'll play land Azusa Sanctuary here. And we'll see if they have... they can't have a removal spell here unless I guess they have Dismember. Pick up Boseiju, play Boseiju, I suppose. Definitely want to get all of our lands into play. Even if they field here, we'll have the One Ring this upcoming turn. We do have to worry about Bowmasters a little bit, but... Spell Pierce not looking great here. They field our thing, of course. Get basic Forest. Push Azusa. We don't really care about that. We will play this ring and draw even though they have a Bowmasters in play, that's for sure. Just hope they don't have Shielded also, I suppose. Gonna not play land first, because we could draw either a bounce land that we want to play, or a breeding pool we could shock and hold up Spell Pierce. Dismember. That one's good against the Bowmasters, but we'll hold it up just in case they have Shielded or something instead. Although I guess they can have the Undying card. No saying that they don't. I guess we'll pass, though. They're more likely to tap out here. They're probably not thinking about playing around Dismember anyways, so... Is this coming off Suspend? If it is, I could see them getting Shielded, and we'll just kill that, I suppose. They play Shielded here, we'll Dismember that instead. I mean, we could always just jam a Titan this upcoming turn, no matter what happens, so... They probably have to go for Shielded, but... I mean, there's definitely ways that we lose this game. Like, they go for Shielded, we kill it, go down to 11, take 3 down to 8, untap, lose 1 down to 7, jam, like, tap the ring, jam a Titan, they, like, edict us, and then we're just taking a bunch of damage, but they play Urborg. I guess that lets us not have to pay life to Dismember. Still probably have to... Oh, Karn. Man, if only we could Spell Pierce this. That does stop our ring as well. I guess now we can safely hit the Bowmasters with this Dismember. I guess since their Karn is in play and we can't use the ring, we probably hit the token instead. See what they get with their Karn. I'm a little surprised they're playing Karn and Castle Lochthwain in the same build. That's at least not something that I've seen yet. Liquid Metal Coating. Well, I guess we Dismember the army token and then hope to just jam a Titan this upcoming turn. Resign ourselves to this Bowmaster just remaining in play. It is just a 1-1 after all. I had the feeling we were going to draw another ring, but I mean, at least we can play it, gain 1 life, and then stop losing 1 life every turn, so better than doing nothing. Karn looking very good here. I think Karn being the choice as opposed to Shielded is going to make the difference between them just losing this game straight up and winning the game. Not that they've necessarily won already, but because like we could always draw Endurance, flash it in, block Bowmasters, and then attack Karn and like have a chance. Talari West. I mean, we probably have to play that, I guess. Yeah, now we're just going to lose to Karn, which is pretty anticlimactic, but, you know, probably should be saving more 1 rings against Bowmasters and Karns and possible Shieldreds. Yeah, not looking very likely for us to win. I probably shouldn't be boring in Spell Pierce in this matchup either anyways. They're leaving us the blue for Spell Pierce, which is interesting. And they have Grief. Alright, yeah, we probably can't win this. Scoop it up. Spell Pierce dead in hand all game. We only had 2, because I suspected that could happen, but that's alright. Do we want Grazer against their stupid Bowmasters? I kind of don't hate it. Maybe not a whole lot, though. Generous Ent not looking bad here, either. We can just shave all of our rings against Karns. Get Mycosynth in here instead. Or no, actually, I like Grazer more than Mycosynth, I think. At least the 3rd Grazer is probably better than the 2nd Mycosynth. I could be wrong on that, though. Map is not great against Karn, either. So I guess we can trim map and have a Mycosynth go like this. Say yes to be on play. And immediately see a weird hand. We have lands in this hand, so it's really not that bad. We'll try it. Generous Ent probably just getting us a Forest or Breeding Pool here. I guess we'll lead on TUS, representing a potential Spell Pierce, I guess. Or I guess maybe playing Valcut into untapped TUS is a little better for that, but you know, it doesn't really matter. Bounce land is pretty good. And we can just jam a turn 2 Dryad here. It's really not the worst. they would potentially be able to revolt for Fatal Push. I mean, I don't know that they play very many fetches. They play like 6. If they just have a fetch Fatal Push Dryad, then it's really bad for us. But I think we're supposed to go for it, because we're getting our Valcut into play regardless, so... Well, this makes it more likely we could just use Generous Ent as a 6-mana threat then, since we top deck the bounce land. I wasn't necessarily anticipating that being the case. Definitely not leaving bounce land in play, since they could just field us anyways. Doing it this way lets us get out underneath field and get value out of our amulet and get an immediate land drop with Dryad. They have push for Grazer. That's weird. Oh, so they can edict away our Dryad. Okay, land. Another amulet, huh? Well, we'll play this and hope they don't have a field, I guess. And if they do have a field, we'll just have to do it live. No field, huh? No field, you said. And a Dryad to play around the edict is amazing. Hit 5, so I don't yield to my double amulets here. Definitely playing Dryad here, and leaving... it doesn't really matter what we leave floating, actually, because we have double amulets. I'll leave the white. Well, got rewarded for playing turn 2 Dryad, because our opponent just didn't have the field this turn. Still keeping bounce land in hand, I think. Play Titan. We can haste off of Valcut Slayers if we really want to here. We're going to make us sack the... Oh, Shadow Doubt. Okay. Well, I mean, we're just passing here. Definitely not cycling Ent here. The 5/7 reach is going to be our backup game plan if our Titan were to die somehow. 4 mana for Damnation. Okay, well, this little forest at the beginning of the game is now turning into something a little more substantial, huh? And I will play it. I mean, it's not like they can't beat a Generous Ent for sure, but this will also pressure Karn, which is important. It's a relatively decent threat. Oh, and I'm glad I played the Ent before anything else, because Field Ruin invalidates our Endurance. Oh no, we can't sacrifice our food token. Whatever will we do? They minus. I guess they're getting Stone Brain here. It's vaguely annoying. Oh, the One Ring. Interesting. It's potentially beatable, especially if we draw Titan immediately, which we don't. Alright, well, we definitely have to attack Karn here. And I guess we're playing the Endurance, and might as well play the Amulet here as well. I don't see a reason not to. Crazy how a Titan there would have been lethal. Play Endurance. I guess this is playing into another Damnation. And for that reason, we also actually don't want to shuffle their Damnation back in deck, because they probably only have the one. Do we want to shuffle ourselves? I think we do. Giving us higher threat density is probably a good idea. Just always yield this. And then we'll crack our food token before we get Karned again. Pass it back to them. They play the ring. No surprises there. They have 4 cards here, and so we need Titan right now, basically. Titan right now covers us against everything. Let's see, does Dryad do it? We make 6. Play another bounce land, float blue. Dryad probably does it. And by does it, I mean gets Titan into play at least. Though we're not necessarily winning, we are getting a bunch of lands. So we don't even need to float blue with the Sanctuary, because we have 2 lands in play that can float for blue, thanks to the Dryad being in play. We'll go blue. We'll get Titan, play Titan, get second T-West, and a bounce land, do all of it again. Haste both, attack with both, even though we're not doing damage, because this will let us search for lands. See, because we're going to 4, going to 5, 6. Once we get the second Titan into play, attack with both. We're just getting well above double Summoner's Pact, I think. Maybe even through double field. Maybe not. I'll have to think about that. So we get T-West bounce land. Let's assume that both of these are fielded, the 2 bounce lands that are green. We have 2 forests, 1. We attack with... So we'll have the Boros Garrison in play. Another 2 green sources. The 2 attacks with the Titans gets 2 more green sources at least. So I think we're good to go for this. I mean, we really do not want them to Damnation again. That's for sure. But outside of them having exactly second Damnation, I think that this basically locks it up. We'll transmute this one. Get a Titan, play Titan. We can probably haste off of Valcut Slayers here, even if we wanted to. Make red, white, untap both. Make red, haste 1, untap both. I think it probably works here. So I'm just going to go on Faith here. I guess they could really ruin our day by killing Dryad, but they would have already done that if they could, so I'm not worried about it. Alright, so we have to get some green sources with these Titan attack triggers, but beyond that, we should be good. So we'll get Breeding Pool and, I guess, a Boseiju. And we don't have to worry about these Valka triggers because they are a May, so we can't point them at our opponent because they have protection from everything. But we can save targets at the Titan, and then just say no, always yield, and then we'll just let these go, not using the mana in any meaningful way, and then we'll search for this one. We could play around third field by getting a second green source, which is probably a good idea. So I guess Growth Chamber, and then just like a Saga for extra threats. All the triggers. All of the triggers. Alright, and then for this, I guess we can't pick up a green source, or we end up not playing around what we wanted to play around, so we'll pick up Valakut, I guess. Alright, we'll see if our opponent can get out of this with their one ring and, the 6 cards they're about to have here. There we go. Well, that was a little bit of a nail-biter, because I didn't know that we were guaranteed to top deck something good there, but the Dryad just seemed to be good enough, so now we are at 3-0, and I guess we'll jump in here for match 4. I do feel like the mono-black matchup can be hard. It really depends on the draw. Like, if they disrupt you enough and have fields to stop you from going off with bounce land, like if our opponent was maybe more proactively holding up their field to hit a bounce land with all the amulet triggers on the stack, then maybe we lose that game, but I don't know if there's ever really a window for them to do that. On the draw again. Classic. Opponent says, good luck, have fun. I'll say you too. And we get another turn 2 Dryad, turn 3 Titan kind of hand, because double bounce land, double untap source does get us to turn 3 Titan, so this is the, one of the quintessential snap keeps. Definitely keeping this one. They mulligan to 6. Affinity, huh? Or like an Emery deck, but Darksteel Citadel indicates more affinity than anything else. Well, affinity should be a good matchup. It depends on if they're on an Emery build or not. Emery makes things a little more complicated. We'll go naming Beast here. Play our little Crazy Boy. Put in our Growth Chamber, pick up this Cavern, and we're even playing around Metallic Rebuke here, which is very nice. Saga Pass, huh? Something tells me that we can beat that. Speaking of Saga Pass, but actually we're gonna play around them having Rebuke, even though it's not possible here, because they don't have the blue for it. And we'll play Saga after that, I guess, because we'll still have land, Titan, so we're good. Even if they had Chalice here, we could, in response, cast the Pact and just pay for the mana here with our Dryad ability, and still be pretty alright, so still no blue, huh? Opponent's having a rough time over there. Well, I think they are very close to just dead. I mean, pacting for green source Valakut is probably the idea, since we have Vesuva. I guess we want to go Sunhome Cavern on Giant here before we do anything. Just so they can't, like, do something to our Dryad. Now we'll pact. And that's good enough, alright? So we don't have Force for the sideboard against this particular deck like you usually would. We do want Boseiju, though, obviously. Mycosynth seems pretty strong against them, outpowering their counter magic by getting way above it. Oblivion Stone seems pretty good against them, actually, as well. Although it does blow up our own board, but maybe that's not as important. And Dismember could be good if they have Emery or Urza, which I don't know for sure that they do or don't have, but I might as well play around it, because I feel like we're going to have cards to board out. We don't really want Generous Ent here. I don't mind boarding out one Pact in case they do have Chalice, which is always possible. Map is good. I guess it's probably just lands at that point. Sometimes they play like Spreading Seas in the sideboard, so like boarding out a Saga is reasonable. And I guess Map if we're doing that as well. Well, this hand is not too great. It lets us play a turn 2 Dryad. I'll probably wait on the Saga to play it next turn, so we can get Saga value if we are not able to hit our land drops or don't find a bounce land or whatever. We do keep this, though. Hopefully they are playing an Emery or something that we can dismember. Hallowed Fountain. So it looks like they're more on Urza stuff than whatever we were expecting. Shock here. Grazer in, I guess, Valakut. I mean, against blue-white Urza stuff, would we rather put in Saga? They could have Portable Hole for an Amulet if we try to accelerate Amulet into play, so I'm not really about it. Just be a little more patient here. Next turn we can go Mycosynth Dryad into Saga. Patchwork. I mean, we could kill that. It does have Ward 2. Is that worth dismembering? Maybe. I don't know, they're playing an Affinity style build. Oh, with One Ring. I kind of forgot that was in our deck, I'm not gonna lie. I think I'm still just sticking with the plan of jamming Dryad into Saga, and then we can dismember something next turn, potentially, or just slam the Ring. The Ring looks really good against their current board state. If they keep committing more to the board, then the Ring will just completely stop all of their aggression. Definitely getting Dryad in underneath a Metallic Rebuke is seems important to me, so Nettle Cyst. Interesting. I guess we take our chomp? Or maybe not yet. Not yet. Alright, Saga ticking up. One more land and we would have had Titan here, and that would just be the game. But instead, we're just going to go playing the One Ring, I guess. So we can try to find the missing land or bounce land, and also not take like a bajillion damage. We'll draw and find a land here. So we can... Oh, we can't kill the Automaton. We can kill one of these, though. Probably the Ornithopter, I guess. because it has flying. Flying can be annoying. We can dismember the Phyrexian Germ. I don't really think that's the play, though. Well, now our opponent needs to not let us get a Titan into play. So if they tap out of their blue mana here, then, you know, things are not looking great for them. They only have one card left, and they tap their blue mana. Did they play land already as well? They played Darksteel Citadel, so they would have to draw exactly Springleaf Drum plus Metallic Rebuke for us not to just have lethal here, I think, so. No blocks here whatsoever. We do have ring protection. Yeah. Can they use Thought Monitor for Metallic Rebuke? I don't know. Does this do the blue? I think it might. There's Titan. All right, let's float a green here, I guess, and search. We'll get our amulet and draw with the One Ring, see what we can find. Another amulet and a land. Well, we could get rebuked here, and it wouldn't be fantastic. Oh, actually, we can play around rebuke by killing their Thought Monitor first things first. So let's do that. Get that out of play. No rebuke for you, opponent. And then we just win the game. Winning the game is cool. I like doing that. I guess we don't want to tap the Valakut here for whatever it's worth. Here's a Titan. Oh, I guess we could have played Amulet here and then set up for a second Titan, but we don't really need to do that. I don't think our opponent can have anything on just all colorless lands, so I'm going to go Valakut Slayers, put these on the stack, and then save targets upstairs, and our opponent will be very dead. I guess they could dismember our Dryad. They would have to do it now, though. We'll go, always, yes, the new Valakut, I guess, and we win the match. Well, that means we're now 4-0. Okay. we'll jump in here for match 5. We're just over here just killing it. I hate to say this, I'm not even trying that hard. Like, I'm just like laying back, just like, we'll just, we'll do this, we'll do that. Like, this list seems pretty decent. We should get a hard matchup, like Scam or Murktide in match 5 here. But not 4-color, because I don't like playing against it. But Scam or Murktide, just so we can try to use our Generous Ent tech. Even if we lose the 5-0, I just want to play test the matchup. I don't actually care. I just want to play the matchup. It would be funny if we end up getting paired against like an Amulet Mirror and we have Generous Ents and they don't, and so we just like have dead top decks and lose. That is a possibility. Playing against Get Off My Lawn 1. On the play, finally. This is only the second time we've been on the play. We have a Grazer out of Saga hand and a Generous Ent, so we'll keep. Obviously the Generous Ent, is a big factor in keeping this hand, right? We don't have an untapped source to start activating Saga immediately. We could put in, like, Valakut or T-West and then play Saga for turn this upcoming turn. It wouldn't be the worst. We don't have bounce land to get to Titan fast anyways. I'm gonna go with that. I don't see too much harm in it. On the play, I think we're safe to make this play, but on the draw, maybe it's a little riskier. Blackleaf Cliffs. Well, now I'm glad that we saved the Urza Saga, unless our opponent is gonna Blood Moon us. And is Scam. Okay. Well, we're getting both of our remaining cards taken. I'm very, very glad that we saved this Saga, otherwise we'd have no game plan right now. So, there's always that. Generous Ent should be good in this matchup. And the One Ring as well. We have all 4 One Rings main. Depending on if our opponent has a Bowmaster's draw. I mean, even if they have Bowmasters, One Ring should be a good top deck here. If we top deck the One Ring, we're probably just playing Valakut here. And we did draw the One Ring. I'm a prophet, guys. I just know these things. Are we just playing Valakut then? I think we just play Valakut. No reason to waste our Saga value. If they Thoughtseize away our Saga, then that means that we just take an extra 4 damage or something, but I don't really care that much. I just don't care that much. This also guarantees that we get to play the One Ring up this upcoming turn if they don't make us discard it. Not blocking because we cannot. It has Menace. Also, keeping this Grazer and play to Roadblock or Ragavan is better than blocking anyways. Double blocking to try to kill the Grief would be worth it though. Generous Ent looking pretty good here. Either the land drop that we could potentially miss if we don't draw it with the ring, or the threat that we're trying to ramp into. Here's the ring to take over the game. See if our opponent flashes in Bowmasters or not. I think we're just going to pass, and on their upkeep ring, just so that they, if they cast Bowmasters on our instep, they don't get to ping us. Oh, I guess they can't ping us anyways, though. They can't ping us because of the One Ring, the protection. So we're good to just draw now, which we should. They do have the Bowmasters. Not super surprised. They ping the Grief. That's funny. Yeah, I was going to say they could have pinged the Grazer, but I don't know. Maybe waiting until upkeep to use the ring would have been better, because they probably have to flash in Bowmasters at instep there anyways. We're not taking any extra damage from this, though, just because the One Ring is giving us protection, so maybe it doesn't really matter. Now, a Dryad would be a great top deck. Like, if we were top deck land and then draw into Dryad with One Ring, or vice versa. Mount Doom. This is one I've seen before. I think Dryad is our best top deck here. It could just die, but it also, maybe wouldn't. Maybe it doesn't die. Have you ever thought about that? I guess, actually, even if we don't draw lands, we can cycle Generous Ent for a land, so we can go land Vesuva Valakut after we play Dryad, or, Vesuva Valakut first, then play Dryad land. Be able to kill 2 things, unless they kill the Dryad. take our ring damage here. This is the matchup, one of the main matchups for the ring. So we'll let them Bowmasters here. So they have a 4/4 Orc army. We did find a potential Dryad here. Are we supposed to play it? They don't have Revolt here. If we do play it, then what are we killing? The Bowmasters? And maybe Grief? Grief to take our cards doesn't matter that much? We could Grazer in a land. We could Grazer in Vesuva Copy Valakut, play Forest, pack for Dryad, play Dryad into the land that we cycled with Generous Ent, and then have nothing in hand in case they do undie their Grief again. That's like going way too all in on them not having a removal spell, though. We could also just like Grazer in Vesuva Copy Valakut and pass with the Saga activation, which is not the worst. I think I'm more into that. Or I guess we could Vesuva Urza's Saga. That plays into Blood Moon, though. Interesting conundrum. Could copy T-West, so any bounce land gives us another Summoner's Pact. I don't hate that either. Let's copy T-West, I think. We don't really need an extra basic forest, and playing into Blood Moon is not something I find super appealing here. Oh, forgot I put this upkeep stop. Not using that one. Thoughtseize. I guess that's okay. Not that I love it, but, you know. They can't attack with Bowmasters here because we can make a Saga construct to block it. I think we are chumping to take as little damage as possible, though. So we'll do this. Double block the Grief. Put one in front of the army. Then we can play Generous Ent, and maybe it'll just take over the board. Or we could just make another construct with Saga. Could activate Ring despite them having Bowmasters. Give them another 3 counters on the army and another 3 damage. It wouldn't be the end of the world. Triple black. Oh, do they have the Blood Moon? Oh my gosh, they might have the Blood Moon. Oh, Pyromancer. Okay. Interesting. Right, Dryad is our best top deck still, I think. Another Generous Ent, huh? We could just, like, you know, we could float. We don't have map, I don't think. Oh, wait, is this game 1? This is game 1, isn't it? So we could get map for bounce land. We could also just draw with the 1 ring and let them get the extra 3 points. Don't know how much I love that, though. We are taking some damage from our own 1 ring here. I mean, we could always find another 1 ring and reset the old one. We can make a token, I don't think just playing 1 Generous Ent or making a token and doing nothing else is going to be good enough. I think we need a 1 ring here anyways. So let's go for this immediately. We found Amulet Bounce Land. We might just have Titan here. Now, we float, get an Amulet, play Amulet. We have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's exactly enough to Titan, so now it is very clear what we do. We are going to put some Primeval Titans into play and attack with them. That seems like a pretty good turn, don't you think? Let's just yield to this. Get Amulet. Hit 5 to make sure we're not yielding to anything. Play the Amulet. I almost played Bounce Land first. That would have been a disaster. Gotta make sure I pick up the T-West that's actually a real T-West and not the Vesuva copying T-West. Gonna be extra safe and use the red mana here just in case we needed the extra green. I don't think that we do, though. That's exactly 6 mana. It is time. Very much so time. Now we have 20 points of damage here. They have 1, 2, 3, 4 in blockers, so they're just dead. Oh wait, we can't actually double strike with 20 points because we have the Vesuva in play. So we get Garrison Slayers, we have 16, we attack for 16, and then they block with 2 creatures and they're not dead. So I guess the best thing we can do is just play a second Generous Ent and set up another T-West. Do we even attack? We could haste and attack, but then we can't play Generous Ent? Nah, I'm gonna play Generous Ent here, I think. Well, we're taking 3 to the ring. If we play Ent, we go block, take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, down to 5, and then we take 3 from our ring, so we're dead to a bolt. Although we do have potentially the ability to crack our food with the Ent. So we could get bounce land. We could get double bounce land, play Ent, and crack the food immediately. No, I think we could crack the food at instant speed anyways. Oh, no, wait. We can't crack the food at instant speed if they have bolt during their turn. I don't think they can easily kill either of our creatures. They would have to have another terminate, or a terminate. I don't know if they've used one yet. They have not. We haste, leave both on tap, pick up Vesuva, attack, get bounce land. Okay, we can haste and then play a Generous Ent here, which I think is going to be the play. Yes, this is going to be the play for sure. We just leave it untapped. Pick up the Vesuva here, go to combat and attack. Whether they block or not, I don't actually care, because we're going for Talari West Simic. And then we'll pick up anything else and cast a Generous Ent this upcoming turn. Do we want to Besage their Mount Doom, just so we can't take the extra 1 point there? I mean, it's free, so I guess we might as well. This gives them potentially Bolt for Titan right now, I guess, but I don't know how important that is. Yeah, they didn't even take the damage with the Broadly Crypt, so probably a good play. And here we'll just pick up, I guess, Forest. Picking up Forest leaves us dead to Blood Moon, I suppose. That's not fantastic. Should have picked up, I guess, the Valcut? I don't know. Here's a Generous Ent and a pass. This has been a very close game. The Bowmaster has helped them keep up with our One Ring, but I don't know that it's been enough. Attacking with just the biggest ones, huh? That's not correct. You should be swinging out with everything, I think, because we'll just take the grief, block the army. I guess not attacking with the Bowmasters does make some sense. Are we still dead to Bolt if they don't attack with Bowmasters? I don't know. We definitely block the army here, but we keep the Titan in play. See if they have Sheoldred's Edict for a Titan. As always a possibility. They just had Blood Moon, and they're just slow rolling it, huh? Aren't we just dead to pack now? Why are they just casting Blood Moon after attacking? Why not just do that first? Maybe they didn't realize that we have to pay for pack. Well, picking up the stupid Forest instead of Valcut ended up costing here. I guess we could draw a Boseiju, so we're supposed to let this go and then respond to this with the One Ring. And I guess we're supposed to cycle Generous Ent first, just to make it more likely that we find our other Boseiju, assuming that we even have one. I think we do. We have exactly one Boseiju here. Oh no, but we're going to draw 4 cards and die to Bowmasters anyways, so I guess we just scoop it up. Man, that's really stupid. And they didn't just cast the Blood Moon before attacking. That's just... Ugh. Oh well. Alright, so we want the Generous Ent, obviously. I'm going to try out the Oblivion Stone. I don't have high hopes, but I will try it. We want Mycosynths and Boseiju over our Sagas, that's for sure. Goodbye, Saga. We don't want the map. We can trim 1 Summoner's Pack, maybe 2. I think I'd rather trim Cavern than the 3rd pack, and we'll run it this way. Is there any reason to have Bog? I don't think so. Endurance ain't bad either. I'm going to bring in Endurance. I think it's important. Trim these 2 and 1 other thing. I guess we could trim 1 One Ring, but I don't think that's really good. Zeus is not great, but it's alright. We don't need Breeding Pool, I think. Run it this way. Only 27 lands is kind of low, but I mean, we need live top decks, and we have 4 Ints as well, so I mean, I guess this is a keep. Generous Ent probably just a land here, but we'll find out. This is a very weird hand. This is a turn 2 kill if we draw a second Amulet, for whatever that's worth. Amulet Puzzle, can you figure out how? They grief scam us, of course, of course. I should pact for Endurance here. Well, they take our Amulet. I wouldn't be surprised to see them take Generous Ent here. Just cycling for basic force is actually pretty good here. Don't really want to play on my bounce land, so these Summoner's Packs are basically useless. They could take Titan if they're really scared, but I think Generous Ent is the best pick, and they do come to that conclusion. Hard to beat the turn 1 grief scam, but we will still attempt it. Grazer not doing too much here. Just play our land and pass. We can always pact for Generous Ent just to get the extra land drop. It's a hard way to do it, but it is a way to do it. Our opponent is playing into their own Blood Moon mana base pretty heavily here with Double Swamp. And Dalthy. Dude, turn 1 Grief Scam into Dalthy, huh? I guess there's technically an argument to playing Grazer there, but ugh. There's definitely an argument to playing Grazer there. That was just a little sloppy on my part. Yeah, I just don't think we can realistically win now. Because even if we put 2 blockers into play, second Grazer. I mean, we only have 1 real play, and that is to pact for Generous Ent, cycle it using the non-green, so use the blue, get Forest, play Forest. I guess we play double Grazer here since we have to double block Grief. I don't know how we're realistically winning here, but this is like the only thing we can do to survive. We double block. I think we're just dead, to be honest. I'm just going to scoop it up. Well, really hard to beat the perfect curve. I guess I did kind of ask for that. But that's alright. We still ended up 4-1. And I don't have much to say about the list. I'm a big fan of it. I think that it makes sense to split Generous Ent main and side. I think that you do want some Ints main, but you probably want some Ints side as well. Maybe not just an entirely sideboard card here, but I really don't mind having access to it. It's kind of like Turn Timber Symbiosis, but better, weirdly enough. Who would win? 1 common from Lord of the Rings, or 1 mythic rare from Rise of Zendikar, or whatever the set is. It's pretty funny. But I've been subtly impressed by Ent. There's a lot of stuff that Ent does that are just really good for us. I think this Oblivion Stone in the sideboard is probably a wasted slot. Probably should be switched for something else. Maybe 3rd Dismember for the scam matchup. And the Ragavans of the world and stuff, and Omnaths and whatnot. I think Dismember has a pretty high value right now. So I could see making this change. I don't know, maybe playing 2 Ints in the sideboard and playing a second Mycosynth main is a little better as well, just so we have, you know, more relevant cards and a wider spread of matchups in the game 1, and we can board in 2 more Ints and have a full 4 copies against the Mages of the Moon, Blood Moon decks. I think that Ent really helps there, in a way that Boseiju doesn't actually as well. Like, just being able to set us up with the basic forest is extremely valuable. But yeah, I think this is basically where I am with Amulet going forward in the future, something very, very similar to this 75. this is what I feel most comfortable playing. Obviously, there are, a few cards that could be swapped, like Azusa versus a Cultivator Colossus versus third Int in the sideboard versus main board type stuff. Third One Ring in the side or fourth One Ring in the sideboard versus main board type arguments that are very tiny and kind of arguably inconsequential, but they do have a slight impact. But I think that this particular 75 is quite solid. So I've been having a lot of success with it recently as well, so we almost 5-0'd this league, and that is partially thanks to you guys, thanks to you inspiring me to come here and make content so that you guys can learn, get an idea of what's going on in the Amulet universe, and if that's something that you appreciate, then go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and if you are, then I appreciate you, and I don't really have much else to say. That's the end of this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. This is Red Face Menace, signing off.